Today on the podcast, I am speaking with Avi Abelow, an activist, filmmaker, and unapologetic truth teller about a war that didn't start in 2025, but in many ways began the day Israel handed Gaza over to the jihadists in 2005. Avi was there. He protested. He warned us. And now here he is, 2 decades later, connecting the dots between disengagement denial and the war with Iran that's exploding around the world today. You just posted a powerful thread tracing how strategic appeasement, political cowardice, and spiritual blindness brought us to this moment. You call it what it is, a war Israel didn't choose, but one we are forced to fight. So Avi, let's start right there. You've been sounding the alarm since the days of Gush Katif. You warned that giving away land would lead to international terror, and now Iran is on our doorstep. What do people still not understand about how we got here? And Chodesh Tov to you.
Chodesh Tov Mvarach, Chanale. What a pleasure to be on this program with you. Thank you so much for having me. Wow, so much to unpack. Let's start with this, because it is Rosh Chodesh, and Jews all over the world all said Hallel today. And there was actually a meme a few days ago in the middle of the war. I must have seen it when I was in the safe room with my wife and whichever kids were home. And it was a meme that said, miracles, all the Jewish people have agreed to all say Hallel on Thursday and Friday, right? Meaning for Rosh Chodesh. But ultimately, that says everything. Even though that was like a funny meme, ultimately what we're experiencing is a spiritual war. And in addition to all my daily analysis to help people understand what's going on and to give them some sanity, it's that ultimate message. Like, don't be bogged down by the headlines. Don't be bogged down by the demoralization or the sadness or whatever. Because ultimately this is about our own personal spiritual connection to Hashem as individuals, as families, as communities, and as Klal Yisrael. Because again, I don't like Trump's calling this the 12-day war, because I
thought it was 11. Is it officially
11? They're officially calling it the 12-day war, I guess, because he's a big marketing guy, you know?
It's a nicer ring.
But we both know this. The Iran strategy was to destroy us all, and Hamas launched it on October 7th. That's much longer than 12 days, much longer than 600 days. And we both know that, again, it didn't just start with the expulsion of the Jewish communities in Gaza and the destruction of 21 Jewish communities in Gaza back in 2005. And it didn't even start when I was protesting in the streets of Israel in 1993 against the Oslo Accords, knowing it would bring terror and war and bloodshed, and it would push peace further away. We're talking about a biblical conflict that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us about in the Torah, and it's a religious conflict, and the only one it's a religious war. And we are anyone who denies it, and this is one of my calls to our leaders, not just political leaders, but our rabbinic leaders and our educators, is you are leaving Am Yisrael leaderless by ignoring and the fact that this is a religious war, because one religion's fighting it and the other religions are not. This is an Islamic war for 1,400 years, because it's not a religion. It's a political movement to take over the world in the guise of a religion. They're fighting us. They're taking over New York City now. Whether Mamdani wins now or not, it's coming. They've taken over Paris. They're taking over France. They're taking over Germany. They're taking over Sweden. They're taking over Britain, Australia, Canada. They're going to be taking over America. It's a religious war, and every day that our educators and our rabbinic leaders ignore informing Jews that this is a religious war and it's about HaKadosh Baruch Hu,
they're shortchanging.
They are shortchanging.
Our nation.
Exactly. And ultimately, no, it's not about rising up against the Muslims. That's not it. It's about rising up and to connecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the emet of who we are as Am Yisrael. And is Am Yisrael supposed to live in Eretz Yisrael? There is a reason we're the chosen people and a chosen land with the Torah. It's all supposed to be here. And no, it's not because of Bnei Akiva, Torah, Avoda, and Am Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael. No, that's That's the emes. That's who we are. That's the Jewish people. And so long as we ignore this, we're going to still have the problems. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is expecting us to rise up like a lion, Am Kalavi.
But how does that translate practically? What do you actually expect our leadership to, how do you expect them to inspire us? Because in this country, politics, religion, that's, that doesn't always mix so well. But you frame this war as a moral failure that started with Gaza. So how is the disengagement in Gaza a moral failure that led up to this conflict? What is the connection?
Listen, ultimately, we have to decide for ourselves, what's our purpose in being Jews? Why did God choose? Why was I born a Jew? Why am I part of the Jewish people? What's the purpose of the Jewish people in the world? And ultimately, our sole purpose is to follow God, because God is Torah, is morality. That's the simplicity of it. All we have to do is follow the instruction booklet God gave us. And it's by us standing for morality and truth and justice, according to how God laid out for us in the Torah, in the Bible, that's how we change the world. That's how simple it is. And what we're up against is against immorality and evil. And all we have to do is call out that immorality and evil. That's all any Jew has to do. That's immoral, that's evil, I stand for good. Our leaders are not saying that. They're not calling the evil within Islam. It's not every Muslim. But yes, there is evil within Islam that wants to subjugate, persecute, murder, forcefully convert anybody who's not Muslim. That's evil.
I've been talking about child abuse on my podcast for years, how the mothers in Gaza and all the mothers that practice radical Islam, that they teach their children immorality. They teach their children that I could give birth to you and produce life, but I could also decide to teach my kid to take life, kill a dog, kill a Jew, abuse an animal.
Listen,
and that's immorality.
There are so many examples, footage, videos. I'll give you an example of one of them. I think it's a Gazan mother who, again, Israel does so much good, like beyond helping our enemies. We bring in children and women and men from Gaza, from Judea and Samaria. We treat them in our hospitals. Right? There's no need, but because we're such good people, we do that. One mother is being interviewed. Her son, I don't know, 9, 10-year-old boy, our Israeli Jewish doctors saved his life. And this is on Israeli television. And they're interviewing her. And they're saying, what do you have to say? What's your dream for your son? What's her answer? This is on video. That my son be a martyr. Right?
And she's smirking.
And she's smiling. Her son was just saved by Jewish Israeli doctors. And she's telling us to our faces, my dream for my son is to be a martyr, basically to murder you.
We also treat terrorists in our hospital.
And we also treat, right.
So we
have an inversion of morality. That's our problem.
Right. And it's from the top down.
Top down. And we do it in the name of morality. We think we're being so moral
that we're shooting ourselves in the leg. Right.
And you want to know something? It's not as what's more important than treating a terrorist who let him die, or definitely don't treat him in our hospital next to victims or next to innocent Israelis. Treat him in other places nowhere near anywhere innocent. Imagine psychologically. No, but worse than that is the immoral lesson we're giving to our children, that we're not standing up for true morality. That's more dangerous to our soul as a nation and to our children, because we're blackening their understanding of what truth, justice, and morality is.
Again, we need to constantly, number one, remind our children, this is our land. Gush Katif was our land. When you give away our land, bad things happen. You teach our enemies that we're weak. You teach our enemies that we don't value ourselves. I always say Israel is in a narcissistic abusive relationship. You teach people how to treat you.
Right.
You allow them to cross the line here, cross the line here, cross the line here. And then next thing you know, you are in an abusive situation and you
can't get out of it.
You have Stockholm Syndrome.
Right.
You literally have Stockholm Syndrome.
Right.
So we saw this in Gaza. My grandfather was here from Crown Heights. He came to Mimechazek to strengthen the idea of soldiers and to strengthen the residents there who were pulled out kicking and screaming from their homes, knowing what a tragedy it is, how immoral it is to give away the land. And you spoke about the divine providence of it all. You said that, I mean, in general, all our military victories here are defined, are not defined by logic, but they're, higher than nature. But make the connection or show us how Gush Katif, in our generation, obviously, was the catalyst to teaching the Arabs how to treat us, what our Achilles heel is, how to get under Israeli skin, and how to put us in these perilous situations over and over again.
Okay, so let's start by ensuring all of you understand that Gaza has Jewish. It's Jewish land. And I'm going to talk to everyone who right now celebrates the Sabbath every week, and they sing songs at the Shabbat table. Friday night, and I know, and probably you know this, we all sing the song Yaribon, right? Yaribon, Yaribon, Olam, right? All the different tunes. How many of you know that Yaribon was written by the chief rabbi of Gaza City in the 17th century, Rav Yisrael Nijara? How many of you know that? Not many Jews know that. Not many religious Jews know that. A Gazan Jew, the chief rabbi of Gaza City hundreds of years ago. Because we're told daily, and again, even by our own educational institutions, Jewish, religious educational institutions, and our own synagogues, oh, Gaza doesn't belong to us, and it's the Arabs, and we don't belong there. No, it's Jewish land. Hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. All you have to do is just Google Jewish Gaza. Historically, we've been living there for thousands of years. It's Jewish land. That's why I tell everyone we have to make Gaza Jewish again. Not out of revenge, not because I'm a Messianic Jew, which every Jew is Messianic. Let's be real. It's being used against us. We all believe in the Messiah and Mashiach. We all pray for that. It's one of the 13 principles of the Rambam that we're still waiting for Mashiach. Of course we want Mashiach to come.
Obviously, a closet Lubavitcher.
But the reason we have to make Gaza Jewish again, because that's the only way we bring peace. When the Jewish people live in our homeland and we project to the world, this is the land God gave us for a reason. We're only able to bring a tikkun, to fix the world by listening to God and doing what we're supposed to do and live where we're supposed to live. Gaza has to be Jewish again. And that's also on the realpolitik level. Our enemies realize, oh my God, the Jews are back. The mistake, because you keep asking me, the mistake of the 2005 Gaza expulsion, what I call it, the disengagement of 21 Jewish communities and close to 10,000 Jews, and again, I was there trying to struggle to stop that from happening, was we totally appeased an evil enemy. They were shooting rocks at us. They were. Again, here's the story. And this I told you in our interview last year. My unit, when I served in the Army in the early 1990s, we were the last unit to fold up our Army base in Gaza City, 1993, 94. Literally. And I remember patrolling the streets of Gaza City, and we were being stoned right and left. And because that's all they had in the 1990s, right? Again, I wanted to people understand, in the 1990s, Arabs in Gaza only had rocks
and bottles,
right? They weren't able to do anything else against us, and that's what we ran away from. And by us running away and appeasing their terror, then
they built a terror tunnel system and
rockets,
October 7th.
right? And October 7th, right? That's what happens when you appease a genocidal death cult.
Give them exactly what they want.
Right.
They learn that terrorism works.
Exactly. We teach them terrorism works.
We teach them terrorism works.
The way we win this war, and again, I'm in the process of making a video for someone who asked me. The message is, how do we win this war? All right, obviously we have to get our hostages back after securing Gaza and making Gaza Jewish again and implementing the Trump immigration plan, because they don't belong there. They're not even from there. Most of them are from Egypt or other countries. There is no history of Gazan Muslims. The longest one is there for, 100, 200 years. We were there, but we have a history. They don't have a history there, right? So obviously that's number one. The second one is we have to apply sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, because that's also our land. You're Jews because we're from Judea. Our national identity, our religious identity was developed in Judea and Samaria. There was no Tel Aviv thousands of years ago in the Bible. There was Hebron, there was Shechem, there was Beit El, there was Ephrat, Beit Lechem.
The biblical heartland of Eretz Israel, of Israel.
Judea and Samaria. the worst way we're shooting ourselves in the foot as a people is by denying that that's our ancestral homeland that belongs to us. And the only way we get the world to understand we're home and we're not going to appease our enemies and allow them to take advantage of us is making sure we stand proudly and say, this is our ancestral homeland, we're back. And we're never going away, and it's ours. And anyone who wants to live with us can live peacefully with us. But anyone who doesn't live peacefully with us, they can't live here. Pretty simple stuff.
So back to what you're saying about this being a spiritual war. It's impossible to come at this from a secular perspective.
100%.
Because, which Trump does, by the way, like tit for tat. It's, you know, we're going to sign an agreement. We're not, right. So we're dealing with a whole other animal. So it's impossible for us to come at it from another perspective. However, we do because unfortunately our politics, a secular country.
I wouldn't say we do. Our leaders are still stuck in that paradigm, which is why I'm so invigorated and optimistic about the process we're going through as Am Yisrael, specifically the Jewish people here in Israel. And that's the major differentiating factor between raising your family in Israel and not yet raising your family in Israel, right? Because you should be raising your family here. You're a Jew, come home as quickly as possible, not to run away from the growing anti-Semitism from the left, right, and jihadi Islam, but to come home, because this is home. And I totally lost my frame of reference, what I was about to say.
So you're saying that we have a requirement to be here in Israel and fight for our land, but we're not being taught that. We are being taught that our enemies have to be happy first.
Right. So I was saying I'm optimistic because here in Israel, and it's not even a religious issue, because there are plenty of not necessarily religious Israelis, their Jewish identity has been inspired during this war. They understand we have a unity of purpose. They understand we're fighting not just for our survival, but for our existence as a nation of Jews, not just for our lives.
And they don't hate us because we're Israel. They hate us because we're Jews, and Israel belongs to the Jews.
Right. But it's a higher level, because there is an understanding of a divine process taking place here. The major difference between the war we're experiencing since October 7th and every other war in Israel's history is one. Up until this war, you read the history books or anyone talking about the other wars, the Six-Day War, Yom Kippur War, War of Independence. It all talked about our great generals and our great army and how we won because of our strength. What did they leave out? The narrative of the Jewish existence in our ancestral homelands, coming back to reclaim our sovereignty for the third Jewish Commonwealth, left out God.
Right, the miracles.
The miracles. Every single war was miraculous.
I want to talk about the miracles.
Every single war. The War of Independence, tons of miracles. Six-Day War, tons of miracles. Yom Kippur War. Our existence here on a daily basis is miraculous. We're surrounded by billions of people who are educated from their mother's milk to kill us, and we're still standing? That every day of our existence is a miracle. And the narrative, the ethos of the Jewish state of Israel until this war was we only exist because of our power, because of our army, because of our generals. The way I was explaining October 7th, on October 8th, was God gave us a huge wake-up call because everything we trusted failed us. Every level of leadership, intelligence, army, everything failed us. And one of the miracles of the day, I mean, there were a number of miracles of the day, but it was the individual Jews, what I call the King David-like soldiers of today, who ran down into the fire and fought these Islamo-Nazi terrorists when the army wasn't there for hours to protect or save them. That's just one of the many miracles. But the narrative, finally, within the Jewish people here in Israel has come to include the divine. The understanding that, oh my God, yes, we have to be trained as best as possible. Yes, we have to fight as strong as possible and have the best commanders as possible. But we're not winning because of our commanders and because of the leaders of the army and the leaders of the intelligence. Many times we're winning our battles despite them and their mistakes, because it's our soldiers on the ground who are unbelievable, including my own children, and the miracles that God is providing for us. That is the change in the process we're experiencing. And that's something you're able to internalize much more living here. And again, regardless on religious level, there are plenty of not necessarily religious Israelis today who feel more connected to God or understands the divine process we're going through, while being thankful, of course, to our leaders and to our soldiers and the army and intelligence for what they are accomplishing and doing, but they are not ignoring God's part in this. And that's why I believe we are really in the days of redemption, because that's what God's waiting for. He's waiting for us to recognize him and not just rely on our own strength. The Bible is clear. Whenever we rely on our own strength, that's when bad things happen. When we rely on God and we do our own partnership with God, our own hishtadlut, when we're doing our own and we're trusting God, that's when good things are happening. And that's why I'm so bullish about the direction the Jewish people and the Jewish state of Israel are going now. And that's what so many Jewish families are missing out by not yet being here and raising their children here, because you don't have that in as much depth or understanding.
You learn
there.
it on your skin here.
You're not here. It's in
Yeah.
the air.
It's in the
Here,
air.
there's the air of the Jewish country, the new, and this is an old Jewish biblical ethos that we're returning to. And that's the most important message I want to give over to everyone. Bring God into your life. Bring God into your children's life. We're not Jewish just to be part of a Jewish community because it relies on good education and our kids can get a good job and whatever sociological
So much
reasons.
deeper than that.
It's so much. And again, this goes even for the most religious, the most ultra-Orthodox. There is a deeper purpose. God gave us the Torah to be part of the Jewish nation, to live in Israel. That's it. That's how simple it is to be a Jew today. And we're witnessing it. And we who are living here are so blessed to be part of this redemptive process. And
Which prime minister said to live in Israel is to believe in miracles?
David Ben-Gurion,
Right. So, we're
who
still
was a socialist, non-religious person.
Right, that's
He
the-
understood that.
So we're still processing the last 11 days. Have you tell us what you've seen? We've all seen different we all have different perspectives and viewpoints on this, but what have you seen that's been just blown your mind, miraculous, in the sense that how could you not see Hashem's hand and the role it played in our survival the last 12 days?
There's so much to talk about. I'll start with two. If you want more, we can go even deeper. Number one, I saw the assessments that the prime minister and the ministers of the Israeli government, when they made the decision to directly attack Iran, right? I hate the people who say that, we started the war with Iran. What are you talking about? Iran's been warring against us for decades. Hezbollah is Iran. Hamas is Iran. Houthis are Iran. They've been killing us
They're
and
the head of
planning for
they're the head of the
for
octopus.
decades.
Mhm.
October 7th is Iran. So we finally attacked them directly. And again, they attacked us twice unprovoked over the last year. I was stuck in Deerfield Beach, Florida, the first time they attacked. It was on Shabbat, right? I didn't know if I was
very
in
aggressive. Do you
and that was
remember that?
hundreds
Yeah.
of missiles, and Israeli people were shocked. So no, we didn't start 12 days, whatever. We didn't start the war against Iran.
So I'm like, what should we do today? I know, let's pick a fight with Iran.
Right.
We have this is an existential.
This is I've been living in Israel since over 30 years, thank God. And we've always known Iran is the head of the snake. Iran is developing nuclear weapons to take us out in a nuclear war and destroy us with one nuclear bomb that could destroy our own country. I don't know how many people understand, because the news doesn't always show the correct framing.
Visuals, yeah.
Iran is 75 times larger than Israel. Israel is like smaller than New Jersey. Iran is a huge country. It's a huge country. 90 million people versus our 9 to 10 million people. It's a huge country, and they've been developing and investing trillions of dollars to destroy Israel every way, shape, or form.
And now we
nuclear weapons.
see the fruits of their labor.
Right. Now we said, right. So, miracle number one, I'm going to start with I'm going to give a third, right? Miracle number one is that we decided it all to attack and to destroy their nuclear infrastructure. Because, again, it's a huge country. It has huge missiles and systems and
And
army.
it's foreign terrain.
And it's foreign. And 1,500 to 2,000 miles away, our pilots were flying 3 hours each direction. And there's so many miracles. But all of our pilots came home alive.
To tell
Do you
the tale.
understand that? All of
For
our
dinner.
pilots, right, flew 3,000 miles, 3 hours, one direction.
The enemy,
did
like
what they
enemy
did.
territory.
3 hours, miles back. They all came home alive
Yeah.
against the head of the snake that developed a ring of fire of proxies all around us to destroy us. That's miraculous. That's miraculous.
And we killed their generals, their military leaders.
Right,
We took them out in their beds. We targeted them.
We had air superiority. Our pilots were doing whatever
Trump
we wanted.
had air superiority.
Right. You know what? Let Trump take whatever credit. We know the truth. All good.
Yeah.
The Jewish people had air superiority over one of the largest terror-supporting nation of today that threatened the whole world, not just Israel. That's a miracle. And then going back to what I was saying before, and one, the fact that they decided, and then when they decided, the assessments they got were that Israel was going to get hit hard by the ballistic missiles, and we were going to have thousands of killed.
Was that the original assessment?
Yeah, hundreds to thousands of killed. They decided to do this knowing that. They're like, we have to stop.
How could they not have acted? Why didn't they act until now?
Right, because the thinking is, yes, we might get hundreds or thousands of killed, but if we don't do this and they get the nuclear bomb in a few weeks, they'll kill hundreds of thousands or millions of us or destroy all of Israel. So, one, they made that decision knowing that assessment. Two, at the end of the day, even though every life is a world and we cry over every life lost, and I'm going to use this word with the full seriousness that comes with it, only 28 innocent Israelis were killed in the ballistic missile attacks of Iran in those 12 days. Now, again, that's 28, too many. But it was supposed to be hundreds or thousands. And the fact that it was only 28, and do you know how many missiles? Again, no one was supposed to post the videos or the pictures, but it was all posted anyway, right? How many of them landed in the streets and did not hit buildings? And like meters away from the buildings? If it was only a few meters to the right or the left, it could have hit the buildings directly and killed hundreds or thousands. I don't know which buildings. They were huge buildings in Tel Aviv. My own son's building was hit in Ramat Gan. They've still been not living in their apartment the past 2 weeks. Wasn't hit directly, it hit the street and hundreds some meters away. So their apartment was hit and they couldn't live there. But the fact that so many missiles landed in the streets?
But some might argue that our Air Force is so advanced, we have enough technical information that if we are not defending our citizens, then we're not the Israel Defense Forces. That's what we do. That's our full-time job, making sure that the Iron Dome is working, making sure that the missiles are shot down, making sure that our early detection system is in place.
100%.
So we're doing the work. It's not just like we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs and missiles are falling. So it's a combination.
We're not just praying to God and waiting, God save us from these missiles doing nothing.
But that's the Indian, though. The Indian is that one thing doesn't take away from another.
100%.
The fact that Hashem is behind the IDF, we are his messengers. The Chayalim are his messengers. We are our shluchim. It is up to us to have faith when we go out on these missions, knowing that practically it makes no sense that I could pull this off and be back in time for dinner or one of Chanale's IDF barbecues. But Hashem is behind me.
Let me strengthen what you're saying, because on, I think it was the second Iranian missile attack on Israel a year ago, right? Not in this 12-day war. Hundreds of ballistic missiles shot. And one of the Israeli scientists who worked on the different missile defense systems was interviewed. And he said, you don't understand. The fact that, and again, we have various missile defense systems, some for long-term missiles, short-term, whatever, they're all different. David Sling, Iron Dome, right? They're all different types. 3, 4, 5, 6, whoever knows. They all worked. They were all working together. He goes, you don't understand. The fact that they all worked in sync.
Went off without a hitch.
And they went off without a hitch, and not one missile landed in Israel in that attack. Not one. Back then, not one landed. He goes, that's miraculous.
Yeah.
He was a scientist who worked on the defense
and
missile
even
defense
he
systems.
couldn't believe the miracles.
And even he couldn't believe that it worked so well. Meaning, again, we're doing our ishtadlut. We're doing our part in defending ourselves and developing the defense systems. We're not just sitting and praying, oh, God, help us as the missile comes down. We do nothing. No, we develop these systems. But at the same time, nothing's hermetic. Nothing's perfect. So then not one missile landed. In this, out of the hundreds of missiles they launched, I don't know the exact number, how many actually landed, 25, 30, whatever. Some got through. Our missile defense systems were not perfect. And some landed, but they still did unbelievable work. Again, we should have had thousands killed. If every one of those missiles would have landed and hit a building, we would have had thousands, maybe even tens of thousands killed. And in the end, our missile defense systems worked as best as possible, even though, yeah, sometimes there are mistakes. Some got through, but only 28 people. Again, each one
And
is
today
a life
everybody's
we
back
can't
to school.
cry. And then, and that's insane.
Yeah.
That's really insane.
But I think the moral
And all
of the
a sudden, next day,
story.
we're all back to real life.
We're
We just went through a
yeah.
12-day war, and we're back to real life.
I think the moral of the story, number one, if you're watching from abroad, join Team Israel. Like, if you have any doubts whether our enemies are detractors, Western media, social media influencers, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, if you have any doubt or hesitation to support Israel after you just saw what took place, you either need medication or you work for what's his name, Pierce Morgan.
Right.
So on that front, I think that first of all, everyone should subscribe to Moral Edge because we're here to remind you that we're on the winning team and we should be proud and we should take a celebratory lap.
100%.
Honestly, I think we should.
While being thankful to God.
While being thankful to God, of course.
Hallel. That's why we say Hallel.
That's why we say Hallel today in Rosh Chodesh. Exactly. So we need to take away that we're on the winning side, but the war is not over. And we can't be too confident too quickly because, like you're saying, we're still in a reality where our government, you might call it the shadow government, or people in the upper echelons of Israeli society still are not understanding with true clarity that all of this is tied together. And then until we recognize that this land is ours, it's our moral obligation, it's a Torah obligation to fight for it and to not give it away and to show our enemies that we're strong and to show our enemies that we are anachnu ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim. We believe in the words of the Torah. You could believe whatever you want in your Quran, in your Sharia law, and whatever fanatic the type of religious practice you observe. But when they see us here in Israel thanking Hashem, going to shul despite the missiles, being united, not fighting eternally, because Arabs, when there is tension, they tend to fight between their clans. We don't do that. We come together, and this will put fear in our enemies' hearts. They will see Am Yisrael coming back to Hashem. They love it when we're secular and when we fight and when we, sit there trying to work out the logistics and don't recognize that Hashem plays a role in all of this. Hashem plays the center, the focal role of all of this. So
let me add this story. There was a terrorist, Arab Muslim terrorist in an Israeli jail. And he told the Israeli police officer, jail, whatever officer, we're going to win this war against you. And the Israeli goes like, what do you mean? The Jewish guard. What do you mean? He goes, because I know that right now is the holiday of Passover and you're eating bread. Mm-hmm. He goes, you're not Jewish. Because the Muslims know the second all of Israel
turns away from Hashem,
turns towards
Hashem,
God, and we start following the Torah,
it's over.
They lost. They're going to put down their weapons. It's not about how strong our defense system is or how strong our army is. It's how strong we are as a Jewish people connected to God. And I'm not telling everyone has to be religious. Okay, that's not it. Everyone, we're all Jews. We all have our own religious levels. Doesn't make a difference. God is waiting for us to connect to him on the individual level, the communal level, the national level, each in his own individual way. But our enemies notice that, and they're a very spiritual enemy. That's what they're looking at.
We got to speak their language.
We have to speak their language to win. And they know the second they see the Jewish people are back as a unified, strong nation connected to our ancestral identity and to God, that's when they're going to put down their weapons. Right?
Amazing.
And again, I'm very bullish about Israel, and we're awake. We know there's no more appeasement. The Israeli people are not going to no more appeasement. Appeasement's gone. The leaders of appeasement, they're all going to try to talk like they're more right wing now to try to get votes for the next election, whatever that is. But the Israeli people, not for appeasement. So we're on the up and up, and even though we don't have the top layer of leadership to bring us into the promised land, so to speak, to actually connect more to God while we're also fighting our enemies. The people are there. The next generation of leaders are there. The next generations for the army, for the intelligence, for the politics. They're all being prepared right now. They're all in the field. They're the ones who've just experienced this with their heart and soul and the blood of their friends and family members, right? So we're still going through a process here, but the trajectory is up. Where the war, but at least we're awake to this war, where the war is going and where our fellow Jews and non-Jews might lose that war is in the West. It's in America. It's in Canada. It's in Australia. It's in Britain.
Where they've lost their
faith. Because they've lost
their moral clarity.
They've lost their moral clarity. They've no leadership whatsoever. And the people don't even know it.
Outnumbered.
And it's not outnumbered because they're a minority. They take over, the jihadi Muslims take over when they're a minority, but they know how to play the demographic game.
But the caliphate is them expanding and having more families.
Exactly.
Eventually,
right. They use that. Right. So the war is, I'm more scared for them than I am for us. Yeah, we deal with terror, but we know the process. We know the war we're in. We're awake.
We know what
we're dealing with, and we know what we're up against. And we know what's needed. None of that is understood in the democratic, enlightened West, where they're like. And again, I tell people, yeah, I'm a big Trump supporter. He's going to be the best president. He is the best president the Jewish people, land of Israel, ever had in America, ever will have. There's never going to be another good one. He's the stopgap. Is he going to save America from the ongoing tsunami of the red-green neo-Marxist Islamist alliance out to take over the whole world and destroy the Western world? He's a stopgap. He won't be. Everyone knows he's gone in 2-3 years. So I want everyone to wake up. And first of all, my call to the non-Jews who are listening. Stand up for morality, stand up for justice, and the God of Israel is clear. He blessed Abraham. Those who bless you will be blessed. Those who curse you will be cursed.
Not the land of Israel,
That's
the people of Israel.
That's right.
Wherever we are.
Stay with us. Support us. Educate your friends, your families, your neighbors about the truth. Stick with programs like The Moral Edge. Stick with Pulse of Israel. That's my daily program, giving an analysis. Stick with us so that you get the inspiring, unapologetic truth and educate everyone around you with that. But anyone who's not awake to that, so that's all you non-Jews, and stand up and save your countries. For the Jews, come home. This is where we are supposed to be.
Airport's open.
Not about running away from a growing anti-Semitism and the Red-Green Alliance. No. Come home because this is home. This is your natural habitat.
And we need you.
And we need you. We need you.
Avi, you never disappoint. Thank you so much for being here. And we should only have Besurot Tovot.
Amen, Chanale. Thank you so much for having me. And we be zoche, we merit the coming of the Mashiach, the Messiah, as quickly as possible, the building of the Beit HaMikdash, the temple as quickly as possible. And as I tell my children, we might see the rebuilding of the third temple, but our kids definitely will.
Oh,
kids definitely will.
Let's take them up for that. Thank you.